Hello, I'm a new YouTuber, Elephant. Welcome to my channel where I'll share with you interesting anime. If you are also an anime fan, please subscribe to my channel. I really hope to get your support. Today I'll bring the latest anime named I'm the Villainess. So I'm taming the final boss. The story is about an Earth girl who accidentally travels into an education game and becomes a girl villainess that everyone hates. The male protagonist breaks off the engagement with her in public. What's more, she will be killed by the Demon King in the end. Knowing what's gonna happen next, will she be able to save herself? Let's see together. The story begins at a grand banquet where Aileen, the daughter of a duke, kneels in humiliation as her fiancé, Cedric, proposes to cancel his engagement with Aileen for a commoner girl, Lilia. Guests around look at them with astonishment. This familiar scene awakens Aileen's memory. She has been bedridden and what she's experiencing now is exactly the same as what happened to the villainess of an education game she played. Now, she becomes the villainess. Once the male protagonist cancels his engagement with the bad-tempered villainess, her life enters the countdown. Knowing what's gonna happen next, Aileen cherishes her time. Therefore, she leaves a decent farewell with no fuss, which surprises Cedric. He wonders how this arrogant lady changes so much. Aileen tries to remember the plots. The main protagonist, Lilia, is the holy sword girl who will duel with the Demon King, while Aileen, the villainess, will be killed by the dragon-formed Demon King in all endings. To save herself, Aileen decides to cultivate with the Demon King first. She passes through the first level guarded by crows in the forbidden area where the Demon King is, and then she arrives at the Demon King's castle. A handsome man shows up behind, who turns out to be the Demon King, Claude, as well as the half-brother of Cedric. Aileen hastily proposes to marry Claude, but gets fainted as a lightning bolt falls to split the tree behind Claude. In the coma, she seems to recall some memories. As the youngest daughter of the Duke's family, Aileen worked hard to catch up with her elite brothers. At the age of 8, the Prince Cedric proposed to her jokingly, but Aileen took it seriously and studied harder to be worthy of the identity of the princess. She focused on learning and gradually alienated people around her. As a result, everyone calls her an arrogant young lady. Claude also has a dark childhood. He was placed under house arrest by humans because his mother is a demon. In the end, he will become an evil dragon because of his backlogged negative power. Indulging in a killing spree, Aileen wakes up in a daze and she overhears Claude talking with his two generals, Belzebuth and Keith. At this moment, Aileen insists on proposing to Claude in front of them, which makes Claude so shy because he has never been in love. The overactive magic makes the flowers around him come into bloom. Though shy, Claude casts magic to help Aileen remove the sludge on her body, but he can't face Aileen's loving gaze, so he teleports her out of the castle. At home, Aileen receives a letter from Lilia. Cedric and Lilia will release their engagement in 2 months, and they are inviting Aileen to sign a contract to dissolve her engagement with Cedric officially in public. Getting provoked, Aileen decides to hit back hard. She goes to Claude but gets trapped by the crow again. This time she again plays a trick to make the crow show up, and then she takes out a nice red gift and some delicious snacks to bribe the crow. The crow eats the snack and soon loses consciousness. It turns out that Aileen has added anesthetic to the snack. Therefore, the magic that traps Aileen loses its effect. Aileen catches the crow and threats Claude that she will pluck out all the crow's feathers unless he shows up. Claude has never met such a stubborn girl and has no choice but to show up to save the crow. Aileen gives him a cookie. He eats it without even thinking the girl dares to trick him, but it turns out that Aileen has added an aphrodisiac to the cookie. Back at the castle, Keith can't help laughing at Claude. Aileen explains that she just wants to get closer to Claude so that he can go to Cedric's engagement party with her 2 months later. At this moment, the crow interrupts them. The monster's baby accidentally gets into human territory outside the Forbidden Land. Although humans and demons have signed a truce, but are still in tension, a sudden intrusion may cause a war between the two sides. Aileen offers herself to find the baby monster since she can freely enter the human city. She borrows a silk scarf from Claude, with whose scent she won't get attacked by the baby monster. Claude also knows Aileen is the first choice, so he casts magic to teleport her out. When Aileen finds the baby, it is trapped by humans. They intend to kill it to prove their bravery. Aileen shows up in time and saves the baby but gets her hand hurt. She takes out the silk scarf wrapped around her hand to calm it down. The humans ignore Aileen and still want to kill the baby monster. At this critical moment, the monster shows up and scares the humans away. Reunited with its baby, the monster goes back to the forbidden area through the portal, but Aileen gets into trouble. The escaped humans bring Cedric and Lilia, framing a case against Aileen that she violates the truce to attack demons and even intends to attack Lilia. As Cedric is humiliating Aileen, Claude shows up in a blinding light. He goes down on one knee, showing gratitude toward Aileen's sacrifice for the peace of humans and demons. And then a flying carriage appears. Claude escorts Aileen to the sky, leaving others in amazement. At this moment, Aileen is very touched. Claude asks Aileen why she insists on marrying him. Aileen then decides to reveal everything to Claude, including her transmigration to this world and the incidents she can foresee. We don't know if Claude believes her words, but after sending her home, he promises to go to the engagement party with her. Aileen's efforts finally get paid off because she sees a smile on Claude's face for the first time. Aileen has a strong feeling that she can get rid of the set death. Aileen's situation is just getting better when the Duke, her father, brings bad news that Cedric took advantage of a flaw in his marriage contract with Aileen to start preempting Aileen's pharmaceutical and civil construction industries. If Aileen can't retrieve her losses in the next 2 months, she will most likely be kicked out of the family. But Aileen doesn't give in. She goes to find her good friend, Jasper, who works in a newspaper office, planning on a counterattack against Cedric. Aileen's plan is ingenious. Since Cedric has driven all her friends away who helped work there after he snatched Aileen's property, Aileen asks the Demon King Claude to give her the work of renovating the castle so that Aileen can arrange for her unemployed friends to work again. In addition, Aileen borrows the forest near the castle, where those in charge of medicine can continue to work. Claude accedes to Aileen's request, as he casts a spell to make Aileen's shadow a portal for monsters to enter and exit. The monsters can better accept the human girl. Aileen also names the little monster she saved last time Ribbon, and her relationship with the monsters becomes more and more harmonious. When Aileen's companions come to the castle, Claude is a little jealous to see them getting along well with Aileen. Until he hears that Aileen and they are just good friends, his mood gets improved. In the following days, Aileen's companions get busy doing their jobs. Some are responsible for renovating the castle while Aileen takes the rest to start researching beauty products, intending to make a fortune by taking advantage of the aristocracy's obsession with beauty. It doesn't take them long to renovate the castle to be grand, and Aileen's beauty products research also goes smoothly. Monsters often run out through Aileen's shadow and ask her to make snacks for them. When the atmosphere in the castle is very joyful, Claude is the only inharmonious one because this Demon King will just fall into a daze while looking at Aileen's smile. When night falls, Claude's subordinate Belzebuth finds Aileen, telling her that Claude has been rejected by humans, and he hopes to go to the party with Claude to protect him. So he specially comes to learn etiquette because he doesn't want to embarrass the Demon King. Aileen also wants to help Belzebuth, so she agrees to his request. Just when everything is getting better, Jasper brings bad news that Cedric's fiancé, Lilia, has been receiving letters threatening her to break off her engagement with Cedric. Because of Aileen's signature on them, everyone now thinks that the letters were sent by Aileen. Aileen feels very wronged. In the original game, the letters were indeed sent by Aileen, but she is not the original Aileen and did not send threatening letters. To prove her innocence, Aileen gives the monster crow delicious snacks in exchange for asking it to help find the letters thrown away by Lilia. Claude also wants to help Aileen because he can't allow the girl he likes to be framed up. When Aileen notices Claude's affection for her, she feels shy. As for Cedric's part, he has decided to take revenge on Aileen for the sake of his beloved Lilia, as he affirms that the threatening letters were sent by Aileen. Soon, the party is about to start. Claude gives Aileen a very nice dress, in which Aileen looks even more gorgeous. All the male guests at the party are shocked by her beauty while the ladies are discussing a new brand of beauty products, unaware that the founder of the brand is Aileen. In addition, Aileen has asked a noble friend to help investigate the threatening letters. In the game, Aileen hired hooligans to kidnap Lilia, but the Aileen now didn't do it. Unexpectedly, Lilia still hasn't shown up at the party, but Aileen, with the help of the crow and her noble friend, has found the truth. It turns out that Lilia left the party for meeting Claude alone. She thought Aileen would send someone to kidnap her, so she deliberately hides. Lilia wants to make Claude hate Aileen by insulting Aileen because as she is in a relationship with Cedric, she is also trying to make Claude fall in love with her. However, Claude doesn't hate Aileen. Instead, he hates the hypocritical girl Lilia. Belzebuth wants to drive Lilia away, but since Lilia has an ancient divine bloodline with a holy sword hidden inside her, Belzebuth can't get close to her. Claude can only use magic to drive Lilia away. At the party, Cedric has captured Aileen. He claims that Aileen is the one who kidnapped Lilia, but when Aileen asks Cedric to present evidence, he can't come up with any real ones. Cedric can only explain that Aileen hates and kidnaps Lilia because she loves him. Aileen responds firmly that she has no longer had affection for Cedric since long ago, and Cedric should stop being narcissistic. Cedric is instantly furious, forcing Aileen to admit that she still loves him. Just then, Claude arrives at the party and stops Cedric. Since Cedric is afraid of Claude, who can use magic, he stops harassing Aileen. That's when Aileen presents evidence of the threatening letters. Each writing pad has its unique pattern, while the threatening letters pattern is so special that it is the same as the pattern of the invitation to the party sent by Lilia. That is to say, all the letters were sent by Lilia and it's her plot. Cedric and Lilia are instantly despised by everyone. Aileen takes the opportunity to sign the agreement of breaking off the engagement with Cedric, and then dances with Claude at the party. Cedric hates Aileen even more out of jealousy and shame, coming up with another vicious plan. After the party, Claude confesses his love for Aileen and kisses her on the cheek. Just then, Aileen remembers the tragic ending of Claude in the game, and the one who will cause it turns out to be Claude's friend, Keith. Keith is Claude's only human friend, but he will betray Claude. Desperately disappointed at humans, Claude will then transform into a dragon and get eventually killed by Cedric and Lilia. Claude once saved Keith's life as a child, so Keith has been following Claude. Betraying Claude is not Keith's intention. A profiteer forcibly bought the land where the monsters live through commercial loopholes. If Keith doesn't want Claude and the monsters to lose their homes, he has to regularly sell monsters to the profiteer. However, all of it is based on Keith having no other human companions to fight the sinister merchant. Now with Eileen's help, they can work together to change Claude's tragic ending. In the game, Cedric and Lilia discover that Keith is smuggling monsters, and they tell Claude about it. When Claude turns into a dragon, Lilia kills him with the holy sword. So if Aileen wants to change the ending, she must prevent Claude from becoming a dragon. A few days later, Cedric and Lilia arrive at Claude's castle and accuse Keith of smuggling monsters. But Aileen points out that selling monsters is not illegal, and they have no right to boss here. After driving them away, Keith admits his mistake to Claude, and figures out a way to redeem it together with Aileen. According to the agreement between Keith and the profiteer, when the monster smuggling is completed this time, Keith will take back the ownership of the land, but the profiteer goes back on his words and tries to continue occupying the land. So Keith and Beelzebub work together to take away the profiteer's ledger, which is the most important thing for the profiteer. If the ledger is published, the profiteer will be finished. The profiteer sends his men to snatch the ledger. Though monsters can't attack humans, they can set traps. So the profiteer's men all fall into the trap and get locked up with the profiteer. The issue should have been solved so far, but Cedric and Lilia appear at this moment, knocking down the others and kidnapping Aileen. When Claude is informed of this, he immediately leaves the castle to save Aileen. In order to provoke Claude and turn him into a dragon, Cedric tried to hurt Aileen in a very obscene way. Seeing Aileen almost get hurt, Claude turns into a dragon out of anger. Just then, Lilia takes out her holy sword to kill Claude. At this critical moment, Aileen blocks the holy sword with her body. Luckily, the holy sword can't harm humans, and Aileen also has an ancient divine bloodline, so she takes the holy sword away and stores it in her body, preventing Lilia from killing Claude forever. Thanks to Aileen's efforts, Claude transforms back into a human. Cedric and Lilia have done so many bad things that Cedric loses his right to the throne. Claude, also a prince, eventually becomes the new crown prince. Claude holds Aileen and flies into the sky to show their love. On this day, Keith reports that a group of monsters have attacked the kingdom's vassal state against Claude's orders. The betrayed monsters believe that Claude is not worthy of being the demon king since he is in love with Aileen, the owner of the holy sword. Aileen also knows about this vassal state, where the second part of the love game takes place. In the second game, the entire vassal state is destroyed because of crazy monsters. If it happens, Claude will be punished, hence he and Aileen will return to the bad ending. So Aileen must stop it from happening. There is a very well-known academy in the vassal state, and the reason why the monsters go crazy is hidden in this academy. It is a kind of demon incense that can make monsters crazy. It also affects humans and can enhance human strength. Demon incense first appears in the academy, so Aileen decides to secretly enroll in the academy to investigate the secret of demon incense. Coincidentally, the academy's headmaster fell ill, so it is now managed by the crown prince, which means that the acting headmaster happens to be Claude. To hide her identity, Aileen cuts her hair short and becomes a student at the academy in the form of a boy. There are many noble students here, and most of these noble families do not have much respect for women. As soon as Aileen arrives at the academy, she helps a girl who has been insulted by her fiancé, teaching her fiancé a lesson. Aileen has a clear goal. She wants to join the student council, because the members of the student council are mostly important characters in the game, and the most important one is the student council president, James, who is the final boss of the second game. James is a half-demon, so he is targeted by the church, which causes him to lead monsters to start a war with the kingdom. James, like Claude, is not bad in nature, so Aileen decides to help James avoid a tragic end. Like the first game, the second also has a female protagonist, Selena, who turns out to be an admirer of Lilia. Since Aileen replaces Lilia to be the Holy Sword Maiden, Selena hates Aileen so much that she will apparently become Aileen's new rival. During the days when Aileen is gone, Claude misses her so much that he sends her letters expressing his feelings affectionately, but Aileen doesn't respond to Claude because she has important things to do. If Aileen wants to join the student council, she must pass James' test. James asks Aileen to investigate the recent attack on a schoolgirl, which is said to be done by monsters. Aileen proposes to create a security force to protect the campus, but it requires the principal's permission. Since Aileen doesn't want to be distracted by Claude's love, she puts on a duck costume and goes to Claude to sign the document. With Claude's consent, Aileen successfully establishes the security force and becomes a member of the guard. While on patrol, she happens to spot a teacher related to the recent attack. The teacher is attacking a female student, Rachel. Aileen tries to capture the teacher, but on the way, she suddenly smells a strange scent, which turns out to be the demon incense. It causes James to reveal his demon form and bring down the teacher. The senior of the student council is also chasing the teacher, but when he arrives, James has flown away. Although the senior does not recognize James, he discovers the secret that Aileen is a girl. Aileen has known the senior's secret from the game, that he and another student council member are spies sent by the church to investigate monsters in the academy. Since they hold each other's secrets, they both agree to help each other keep them. Later, the student council discovers that the teacher is obsessed with gambling and owes a lot of money. Recently, he has become infatuated with the demon incense. But the teacher doesn't know the source of the demon incense, and he just happened to pick up a little of it. After the schoolgirl is rescued by Aileen, she decides to join the security force to assist Aileen. Soon after, a love letter is posted on the academy's bulletin board, and many boys gather and laugh at the letter. Actually, it is a prank by Selena, who is very similar to Lilia, hypocritical and vile. Something more troublesome then happens. The monster sends a warning announcing that an attack is going to be launched at the school festival. The festival is an important event held by the academy every year. In the game, during the swordsmanship competition on the first day of the festival, the demon incense will make James, a half-demon, transfer from a human to a demon and causes the tragic ending. On the second day of the festival, a beauty pageant will be held, and students are required to choose a dance partner to participate in. Just then, a girl is insulted for refusing to be a guy's dance partner. Aileen puts on a costume and beats up the guy. At this time, the hypocritical Selena accuses Aileen of violence. Aileen ignores Selena and hides. Because Claude comes to the campus, she doesn't want to be recognized. Selena comes to Claude and tries to attract him, but Claude has only Aileen in his heart and is not interested in Selena at all. At the subsequent student council meeting, James mentions that Claude decides to send the knights to protect the academy due to the threat of monsters, so the student council needs to select someone to be the mediator. Selena is very motivated to take on the task as she wants to present herself to Claude. She doesn't seem to think about that Claude already has a fiancé. Selena even plans to become the champion at the pageant so that she can be Claude's dance partner. The rest members don't want to talk to Selena and leave. While Aileen recalls the plots of the game, it will be these seniors who eventually defeat James, so she must not let others find out that James is a half-demon. But at this moment, the smell of the demon incense is all around. Aileen quickly asks James to leave first while she and the other seniors will search for the source of the scent. Eventually they find a pipe. Aileen suspects that the incense was placed by the church, but the seniors are spies for the church, so they don't believe the culprit is the church. James didn't leave right away. He has been standing behind Aileen and heard the whole conversation, including the demon incense. James then meets Aileen alone. He suspects that Aileen has discovered he is a half-demon. Aileen can only let the cute monster jump out of her shadow. In this way, Aileen proves to James that she is very close to the monsters and is definitely not an enemy. James chooses to believe Aileen and tells Aileen a secret that someone initiates the rebellion in his name. James's identity after transforming into a demon is very influential, but he didn't expect that someone would use this identity to launch a rebellion. But this information is not revealed in the game, so Aileen needs the help of James, who assures he will help Aileen. Aileen is ready for the coming of the festival now. On the first day of the festival, Aileen and other members of the student council don costumes to serve the students. Claude also comes and intends to sign up for the swordplay competition. Claude also recognizes Aileen's costume since Aileen wore it when asking for the signature. Aileen's identity is almost revealed. Luckily, Claude is busy signing up for the competition, so he doesn't take off her costume. Later, the seniors tell Aileen that the church is going to place the demon incense at the swordplay competition to find the hidden monsters in the school. Aileen is afraid that the magic incense will trigger Claude to turn into a dragon and cause damage, so she tries to make Claude quit the game. Aileen's noble friend gives her a bottle of a potion that can make people fall asleep, but it has no effect on Claude. As the swordplay competition is about to start right away, Aileen comes up with a new idea to stop Claude from turning into a dragon. She wears the costume to hide her identity and writes many abusive words to herself that successfully anger Claude. Later, Aileen also participates in the swordplay competition, and Claude is eager to teach a lesson to Aileen, who is hiding under the costume. With the help of the seniors of the student council, Aileen takes advantage of Claude's anger to make him attack the demon incense hidden at the match site and eventually destroys it. Although Claude easily destroys the demon incense, he is still angry with Aileen in costume. Just as Aileen's identity is about to be discovered by him, Keith and Belzebuth arrive in time to stop Claude. After Claude calms down, he has no intention of holding Aileen accountable. Because Claude discovers the reason why Aileen angered him is to destroy the demon incense, Claude then orders to investigate the incident and leaves, saying that next time he must remove the costume and find out who is hiding in it. The crisis on the first day of the festival is thus resolved, but neither the leader of the rebellion nor the source of the demon incense is found. The next day, Aileen hears that the beauty pageant's prize turns out to be the demon incense. Because Aileen is disguised as a boy, she cannot participate in the pageant. Beautiful girl Rachel intends to sign up to help Aileen. But when Rachel has just changed into her dress, she gets pushed down the stairs by the sinister girl Selena. Selena can do anything to weed out candidates who threaten her. Rachel is injured, so she can't participate in the pageant. So Aileen decides to join it in herself. The members of the student council think the boy Aileen is disguised as a girl, but gets shocked by her beauty. Aileen, as an aristocratic lady, is much more advantageous than the students of the school, both in appearance and social etiquette. When she steps on the stage, she wins the beauty pageant with no doubt. The members of the student council are all shocked when seeing Aileen in a dress. James directly invites Aileen to dance with him. Rachel is also happy to see Aileen win the championship, and Selena has to admit that Aileen is indeed more beautiful than her. At the award ceremony, Aileen receives a prize that might contain demon incense, so she runs out with the prize but finds no demon incense inside. It turns out that Selena stole the demon incense because she wants to use it to find out the demons hidden in the school. As James inhales the demon incense, he instantly transforms into a demon. The members of the student council have to pull out their weapons to fight James. Just then, Aileen grabs James and restrains his demon bloodline with the power of the holy sword. With Aileen's help, James returns to his human form. Seeing this, the members all accuse Selena of using the demon incense to cause James to transform. At this time, more monsters attracted by the demon incense appear in the sky. Aileen then takes out the holy sword for the fight. Claude also comes to the scene, as he can control the monsters not to harm humans. The crisis gets solved quickly. However, Claude is upset, because Aileen didn't inform him in advance but chose to face such a dangerous situation alone. Enraged, Claude freezes his castle to ice and creates an ice cage which he wants to use for holding Aileen as punishment. But Aileen tells Claude that she was hiding these things for his safety. If Claude smells the demon incense, most likely, he will also go crazy, which will lead to new dangers. The crow, who has been following Aileen, also confirms that what Aileen did was to protect Claude. Claude is so touched that he breaks the ice cage and hugs Aileen to apologize. Aileen then recommends the members of the student council to Claude. Their wisdom and courage were affirmed by Aileen, especially James, who will definitely become Claude's strongest subordinate in the future. Just then, Aileen suddenly wonders how Selena knew about the demon incense. She must have been instructed by someone. Aileen then remembers that Selena has always been an admirer of Lilia, so the one who gives Selena instructions must be Lilia. So Aileen goes to meet Lilia. She didn't expect that Lilia awakened her memory of the game after Aileen took away the holy sword. Now Lilia knows that she is in the game world and is still the heroine. She thinks everyone else is a character in the game, and it doesn't matter if they die. But Aileen is a unique villainess who she will stop at nothing to defeat. Afterwards, the king praises Claude and Aileen for successfully solving the demon incense incident, but then they will face more difficult challenges. A few days later, Cedric suddenly warns Claude that Lilia has recently prepared to deal with him, but Claude doesn't care. At the same time, Aileen is still investigating the clues of the demon incense. Although the crisis has been solved, the one who made the incense spread everywhere has not yet been found. Aileen takes her mates to an illegal auction house where it is rumored to be auctioning monsters and incense. But Aileen has just begun her investigation when she is caught by a mysterious man, who claims that he is not Aileen's enemy and is able to use magic. Only sorcerers and demons in this world can use magic, so this man is obviously a sorcerer. The sorcerer tells Aileen that he has investigated the personnel of the auction house, and that the real enemy will arrive soon, so they'd better flee away now. The sorcerer asks Aileen to leave from the window, while he will use wind magic to protect her. He helps Aileen on the condition of meeting Claude later. Aileen can't easily trust the magician, but after seeing his face, she recalls he is the last boss from the fan disc of the first game, Eliphaz. Aileen didn't play the fan disc version, so she is not sure what kind of person Eliphaz is. Then, Claude suddenly appears and rescues Aileen. Although Eliphaz did not help Aileen escape, Aileen still introduces him to Claude. The members of the Elephas family all possess magic powers and are imprisoned by the kingdom as being considered related to demons. The weak in his family were taken hostages, while the strong were forced to become bodyguards of the royal family. When Claude sees Elephas, he asks Aileen to go back to her room first. Although Aileen has never played the fans disc, she vaguely remembers some of the character settings. For example, Claude will become an ordinary character who may fall in love with the heroine. That means he's bound to change. Sure enough, Aileen suddenly receives the news that Claude has just been attacked, and although it is not life-threatening, he has lost his memory. When the Emperor hears that Claude has lost his memory, he wants to take this opportunity to make Claude forget everything related to monsters and inherit the country as an ordinary human prince. Aileen and Claude's engagement is thus annulled. What's worse, the Dowager Empress is going to hold a ball to reselect the princess for Claude, while not inviting Aileen. Unexpectedly, Cedric and Lilia persuade the Dowager Empress to give Aileen a chance to attend the ball. Aileen knows this must be another of Lilia's conspiracy. After leaving the palace, Aileen, with the help of Elephas, enters where Claude lives. At this time, Claude is resting in bed due to injuries, but when he sees Aileen, he can't remember who she is. Aileen is not disappointed or sad, because she believes she will be able to make Claude fall in love with her again. After Claude lost his memory, he followed the advice of the Dowager Empress that he won't be a demon king again, but an ordinary prince. Seeing the once proud Claude has become a pure boy, Aileen suddenly feels it's interesting, and can't help but kiss him, and cut off some of his hair as a souvenir. Before she leaves, Aileen vows that no matter how many times she'll have to try, she will make Claude fall in love with her again. After Claude left, the monsters all miss him. In order to make Claude the Demon King again, Aileen must find a way to restore his memory. So Aileen makes some arrangements based on Claude's itinerary. A few days later, she visits Claude with her handmade apple pie, but Lilia and Cedric also come to Claude. Claude can only hide Aileen in a closet to prevent her from being discovered. They are here to inform Claude that he will soon need to visit the city to observe the lives of civilians. After Aileen learns of the trip, she leaves Claude's residence. Although Aileen does not show sadness in front of Claude, she still feels sad about her lover for getting her out of a sudden. On her way back, Aileen unexpectedly meets Selena. It turns out that Selena comes to the capital to join Lilia, but Aileen's companions, worrying that she is plotting again, bring her back. Aileen knows that Selena comes to Lilia for seducing Cedric so that she can look for an opportunity to become a princess. Aileen therefore releases Selena because Selena may become Lilia's enemy. On the day Claude visits civilians, Aileen disguises herself as a knight. Although Claude recognizes Aileen, he does not reveal her true identity. Also, Elephas has informed Aileen that the person who drafted the Claude's route is an high-ranking official. Aileen remembers the official is a game character, and Lilia, who already knows that she is the game's protagonist, has probably taken control of him. Later, during Claude's inspection, a monster suddenly raises his carriage. The monster thought it was protecting Claude, but actually frightened him. The officials has already sent knights nearby to protect Claude, and they immediately shoot at the monster. Then, the monster reveals its purpose. It turns out that after Claude's amnesia, he once wanted to stay away from Aileen. As the monster could feel the idea of the Demon King, it came here, trying to take the Demon King away from Aileen. Saddened and disappointed to hear this, Aileen slaps Claude and announces that she will henceforth leave Claude and never see him again. Aileen's leaving partially restores Claude's memory, as well as his love for Aileen. Claude is grieved, so he orders his men to make sure Aileen will be at the ball. Soon after, Aileen receives a dress from Claude. Although Aileen has said that she is leaving Claude, she can forgive Claude if he has his memory back. Numerous monsters begin to dance and sing to celebrate the imminent restoration of Claude and Aileen's relationship. After carefully dressing up, Aileen goes to the ball, but she still wants to get revenge on Claude, so she puts on a duck head to meet Claude. But Claude just picks up Aileen to a quiet place, where he confesses his love to Aileen again. Even though he has lost his memory, his deep love for Aileen has not changed. Hearing Claude's words, Aileen finally decides to forgive him. Claude invites Aileen to a dance at the ball, and Aileen happily says yes. But before that, she needs to touch up her makeup. However, as Aileen is touching up her makeup, Elephas betrays her. It turns out that Elephas is a spy sent to Aileen by others. At the same time, Elephas kidnaps the crow, threatening Aileen not to make any defense. He pours the demon incense on Aileen and calls a group of guards. The security officer prays to the Emperor and the Dowager Empress that Aileen is carrying the demon incense, intending to make Claude the Demon King again. At this moment, the crow flees from Elephas to protect Aileen. Elephas hurries to defeat the crow to prevent it from telling the truth. When Claude sees the crow is injured, he instantly recovers his memory and magic out of anger. The Emperor believes that it is Aileen and the monster's fault to make Claude become the Demon King again. He immediately orders to kill Aileen and all the monsters. The student council mates immediately step forward to protect Aileen, while Claude also uses magic to teleport Aileen to the monster's territory. Long ago, Claude predicted that the kingdom might send troops to attack the monsters, so he built a secret passage within the territory so that all monsters could escape safely if there's an emergency. Claude can save Aileen and others, but not himself. It turns out that Lilia has actually obtained another holy sword, and it was Lilia who attacked Claude last time, causing him to lose his memory. This time, if Lilia attacks Claude again, he may lose his memory again. Elsewhere, when Aileen is leading the monsters to escape, riding on the back of a flying monster, Eliphas finds Aileen and wants to capture her. Aileen uses the power of the holy sword to defeat Eliphas, causing both of them to fall from the air. They fall to the territory of the Eliphas family. Because Eliphas works for the royal family, he is considered a traitor by some members of his family, for which he is put in prison with Aileen. Just now, Eliphas's mana was destroyed by the holy sword in Aileen's body, so now he cannot destroy the prison with magic. Aileen takes out the holy sword and destroys the prison. Eliphas then takes out his eyes. The magician's eyes are powerful magic props that allow Claude to regain his memory. After that, Eliphas and Aileen escape from prison. On the way, Eliphas tells Aileen that he has been forced to work for the Dowager Empress because she imprisoned the women and children of his family as hostages. But Eliphas enlightens himself. He knows if he continues serving the Dowager Empress, everything will only get worse, so now he intends to help Aileen. They then come to the place where Claude is, where the people from Eliphas' clan are also imprisoned. Here, Aileen meets Lilia, who turns out to be the mastermind of all the conspiracies. It was Lilia who told the Dowager Empress to use the magic of the people from Eliphas' clan to stay young. She also created new holy sword with these magic powers. So Aileen starts to fight against Lilia. While they are fighting, Eliphas tries to free Claude, but Claude's room is blocked by a magical barrier, which prevents him from entering. Meanwhile, Lilia defeats Aileen with the magic of the people from Eliphas' clan. Lilia then intends to kill Eliphas in front of Aileen. Seeing this, Aileen feels hopeless. At this time, the crow, which has just recovered from its injuries, rushes to the scene. It uses the power of the monster to break the door of Claude's room. After entering it, Eliphas lifts the magic here with his own eyes. The people from Eliphas' clan immediately get freed, while the Dowager Empress becomes old. Meanwhile, Lilia's subordinates arrive. When they intend to attack Aileen, their weapons are destroyed. It turns out that Claude regains his memory and protects Aileen. After that, Cedric arrives, saying that it was Lilia who planned all the plots, including the spread of the magic incense, and then apologizes to Claude for it. Claude doesn't get angry right away. Instead, he is comforting Aileen now. As they are hugging tightly, the story also comes to an end. Soon after, Claude succeeds to the throne, and he gives orders to release the people from Eliphas' clan and absolve Eliphas of all his sins. Lilia is imprisoned with Cedric, and now they can only wait for the harshest punishment. In the end, Claude and Aileen complete the wedding and officially become a couple. They will live happily ever after. That brings the end of this anime. In this unique anime, the villain of the game is more upright and likable than the original protagonist of the game. Perhaps in the game, the villains we see are not the same as they really are. A lot of villains probably deserve a better ending. So which villains in the game do you think are suitable to be the protagonist and deserve a whole new story? Comment below to tell me your answers. If you enjoyed this story just like I did, don't forget to like and subscribe. If you want to see more recaps of this anime, comment below to tell me. See you in my next video.